Welcome to week 10 of middle school study skills. We are moving into the week of November 16th through the 20th, and this will probably be my last week in a nutshell video, as I'll be headed on to maternity leave here in a few days. So I'll kind of walk you through what we're doing for this week. From now on, though, you're going to be asking any questions to Mrs. Pitcher. I sent her contact information to all your parents, but I will also put on Classroom how to get a hold of her and any changes that you might see. So let's kind of walk through assignments. So this, remember, our slideshow is the same for our virtual and at-home students. It kind of helps you if you know you're going to be gone on Tuesday. You can jump onto our Monday Zoom at 9:30. Also, for any virtual students, here's our Zoom link. If Mrs. Pitcher makes any changes, she'll communicate that with you. For this week, it will probably be me doing our Zoom, but in the future, it will be Mrs. Pitcher. For our virtual students, I want you to take a look at pages 127 in your social study skills book, and you're going to really think about the difference between an active and a passive learner. So we know our goal is to become an active learner. And we're going to learn some strategies to help us with that, but I want you to kind of compare what the traits are of the two different kinds of learners and why it's important to really be active in your learning as opposed to just a bystander. What you're going to do is you are going to kind of skim through pages 124, 125, 126, and we'll also talk about it in our Zoom. So this is just kind of a review, and what I really want you to focus on is page 127. It's a chart in your study skills book, and it kind of compares and contrasts active versus passive learning. We know an active learner connects, takes learning personally, refuses to be passive, looks at themselves as a learner and how they can change, engages, prepares, and is open-minded. As opposed to, I apologize, my screen just split, so you're going to see a little quirk in our thing. As opposed to a passive learner who isolates themselves, avoids responsibility. They use the phrase learns like a zombie, depends on rewards, slacks, and tends to grow mental mold, and you'll be learning more about that. So after you do that, virtual students, you're going to complete 128 and 129. It's very similar to other things we've done where you're kind of evaluating some scenarios and telling us what would an active learner do. Lastly, you're going to look inward and rate yourself on pages 130 and 131. And for our virtual students, you'll be uploading this to Google Classroom. As always, in-class students, these are things that we're going to be working on in class, but if you're not in class, feel free to go ahead and jump on that Zoom and then complete these assignments, and you can email me them if you get done, if you're an in-class person, because you won't have a post to put them on. All right, for Tuesday, for all our students, you're going to be completing page 132, which is your parent letter. You're going to teach them all about the differences, that idea of active learning versus passive learning. And remember, there are right or wrong answers to these questions. I try to give you the benefit of the doubt, but there are sometimes that your answers, that there might be a specific right or wrong answer. If it's close, I always give you credit, but if it's really far off, I do sometimes take a few points off. Then have someone at home sign that to let me know that you've done it and shared your learning with a family member. All right, for Wednesday, in class, for our in-class people, we learned about this SQ3R method. For at-home learners, virtual learners, this might be a little new to you, but I'll kind of talk about it in this slideshow. So you're going to watch this video, which talks a little bit more about the SQ3R method. There's also a PowerPoint that I'll have posted to Google Classroom that you can look through. Basically what the SQ3R method is, it's a method to help you with your expository reading. So any nonfiction textbooks that you're using, science, social studies, possibly even math, it'll help you kind of understand what chapters are about before you even get started. So the first thing of the SQ3R method is you're going to survey what you're reading. You're going to survey the chapter. Very similar to skimming, a strategy that we learned early on in the semester. You're going to check out those illustrations, photos, charts, kind of flip to the end, see what you think it's going to be about, and organize kind of your ideas of content. Then you're going to question yourself. And we know asking ourselves questions helps to activate our schema. Like, what do I already know about this topic? What's the big picture, etc. Then you're going to read. Expository reading is an active process, so you really need to concentrate and use energy, focus on that, be attentive. Read for ideas and with the intent to understand, because we all know that usually nonfiction or expository reading is a little bit more challenging because of the number of vocab and that kind of thing. Take a look, read thoroughly, think about what you're reading, review pictures, charts, that kind of thing. The next step in the SQ3R method is to recite. As the chapter kind of mentions, and we read in class, or you read skimmed through for homework, sometimes it feels weird to recite what you're reading, but it will help to kind of strengthen those neural pathways. Explain the main concepts in your own words. So anytime you can put things in your own words, it will help you understand and be able to retain that knowledge a little better. And the last step of the SQ3R method is to reflect. So close your book, reflect on what you read. Think about new pieces of information you learned, questions you still have, things like that. Okay, so there's nothing to actually submit for Wednesday, but this is just, teaching more or learning more about this strategy between watching this YouTube video and then re-looking over the PowerPoint. For our virtual students, it might be the first time you saw the PowerPoint, but for in-class, this was something we covered in class. For Thursday, you're going to complete pages 138 and 139 in your study skills book. So what you're doing is we're really applying our skills. So you are applying this SQ3R method to a chapter in one of your expository textbooks. So might be science or social studies like I had. Those probably, or mentioned, those probably work the best. So you're going to do all the things. You're going to survey, you're going to question, you're going to read, recite, and reflect. It's super important when you're doing assignments in your book that you're completing all the portions. If you complete all the portions, you usually get a majority of the credit, but you need to make sure that you're answering all the questions to the best of your ability. Complete, as I said here, remember to complete all portions of the 2 pages. All right, for Friday, you have 2 quick short assignments. The first one is to complete your battle plan SQ3R on page 140. Basically what you're doing, the 5 steps of the SQ3R method are listed or scrambled for you, and what you're going to do is you're going to unscramble them. So for instance, the first box, the top left, if we unscramble that word, we can guess it's probably the word survey, and then tell me what that step in the SQ3R method means, what happens during that step. Lastly, you're going to complete the parent letter on page 149 and upload both of those pictures, pages 140 and 141, to Classroom to show us that you understood the content and are kind of trying to grasp this new strategy that we're learning to understand our textbooks better, to help us learn more actively. So as I said before, the 2 main topics for this week are active learning, and the strategy we're learning about is this SQ3R method, and you're going to be applying that to something you're learning at home, which is the main goal of where we are in this semester right now, is being able to apply what we're learning in class to our home work, the stuff that we're doing at home or in other classes. As always, make sure that you are completing all homework by Sunday. Feel free to ask questions. As I said, I plan to be able to still answer emails through Tuesday as of now, but otherwise, any of your questions or concerns will go to Mrs. Pitcher. She'll be taking over and answering questions and concerns and those kind of things. She'll also be teaching on Monday and Tuesday, and then next week she'll take over the virtual portion as long as I'm still around on Monday. So it was great to have everybody in class this semester, and I hope you have a great last 5 weeks with Mrs. Pitcher as she continues to take you through the rest of our material for the semester. All right, have a fantastic week and weekend, and enjoy your time and the rest of the semester. Bye.